Hi everyone, welcome to the May 2018 edition of Farsight's Time Cross Project, where we use remote viewing to predict the major news events the month before they happen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Courtney Brown, Director of the Farsight Institute, and in this edition of Time Cross, published on YouTube at the end of April 2018, we have the predictions for May 2018, as well as a recap of how well we did in March 2018. Now, as of the recording of this video, April has not yet finished, so we will recap how well we did in April at the end of May. But before we begin, let me announce some truly amazing news. The month of May is going to be a great month for new remote viewing projects that predict economic outcomes, in particular, forecasts of cryptocurrency prices. That is correct. Both we here at Farsight and some of our Farsight friends are involved in two separate projects to predict digital information. For some, the reality of remote viewing has always been tied to the ability to predict numbers. No matter how accurate your descriptions are of historical events or future news events, some people simply refuse to believe that remote viewing works until numbers are predicted, such as lottery numbers or stock market figures. Now, there are reasons, real reasons, why numbers are particularly difficult to work with using remote viewing, and I've spoken and written about that in the past. But now there have been some advances, and we want to share those discoveries with you in the form of live demonstrations involving cryptocurrencies. Just to be clear, no one at Farsight is a licensed financial advisor, and to my knowledge, none of Farsight's friends in their separate efforts to predict economic outcomes are licensed financial advisors. So anything that anyone at Farsight does that relates to using remote viewing to predict economic outcomes of any type, including the selling prices of cryptocurrencies, is done for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everyone doing investments are doing so at their own risks. Now, these are experiments in remote viewing, and there is no guarantees being made, either explicit or implied. Nonetheless, these efforts are truly interesting on a grand scale, and I personally believe that the totality of the efforts will finally lift remote viewing from the fringe of society into the mainstream. It is my belief that after we do this for a while, it will be hard for anyone to ignore the reality of remote viewing. So let me tell you about the two separate efforts to predict cryptocurrency prices. As many of you know, cryptocurrencies are a new form of currency that do not depend on governments. They use something called blockchain technology to create financial instruments, that is, money, that cannot be manipulated by politicians who print or borrow whatever money they need to make their constituents happy. The incentive structure for politicians is not very aligned with the idea of maintaining a stable money supply. So cryptocurrencies that do not rely on political people are on the rise worldwide. And since they are new, their values have been fluctuating tremendously. And those who invest in cryptocurrencies are eager for some predictive capability that would both help lessen the risks of those investments as well as suggest opportunities for much larger financial gains. Which brings us to the current efforts to use remote viewing to do just that. So here are the two efforts that are starting up in May 2018, this month. The first is a project being done here at Farsight. It uses a new experimental design that is based on 15 years of research. It is truly path-breaking, and I will explain that to you in a minute. But first, let me tell you about the second approach. Our Farsight friends, Dick Allgire and Daz Smith, as well as some others, are involved in a separate project. Now, their project is equally creative, although they are using a different experimental design, and their efforts are organized differently than our project at Farsight. They have created an organization that has memberships, and they are sharing the results of their efforts among their members. Now, some of their methods utilize associative remote viewing, and some of their efforts involve something called a mask. Here's a short clip that Dick Allgire put together that explains a bit about what they are doing. After you see this short 3-minute clip, I will explain what we are doing here at Farsight, which again is a different approach entirely. I think you will ultimately find both approaches to be fascinating to watch.
Aloha, Courtney Brown. Aloha, Farsight fans. Dick Allgire here on the beach in Hawaii. want to update you on what I've been up to and what Daz Smith has been up to lately, because you haven't seen me at Farsight for a little while. I've been very busy with a really interesting new project called crypto viewing. We formed a new organization and we're doing some really great new remote viewing projects. Now that doesn't mean that I've cut all my ties to Farsight and Courtney. As a matter of fact, I talk with Courtney Brown 3 or 4 times a week. We compare notes on our projects, we plan things together, and we're always in close touch. And we have tremendous aloha for Courtney and for Farsight.
As you know, we've been looking at cryptocurrencies, the new blockchain technology, and we've been looking into the future to try to predict where these new technologies are going to take us. As you know, this is an area that you yourself at Farsight have looked at with predictive targets. And I think that both of us working from different angles will bring a great new solution to the world and show them what remote viewing can really do. I'm also looking forward to seeing the new Moses video that you've just released. It looks fantastic. I'm very pleased with my results on this, and I'm really looking forward to see what the other remote viewers come up with this amazing biblical mystery that has been around since the dawn of time.
So crypto viewing. You can see my vlog at our YouTube channel, which is Crypto Viewing, 2 words. And we have a website called Crypto Viewing, 1 word, cryptoviewing.com. What's happening here is the world is changing from the old monetary system, from the cash-based fiat money, which has run its course and is about to end. We're now entering a new monetary system, which is digital cryptocurrency. And there are going to be a lot of interesting things happening in terms of the switchover, and that's what we're looking at with crypto viewing. So you can see our projects and you can see our work at these websites. The first project that I did for these people turned out to be something along the lines of a Farsight project. It was a tremendous mystery, the curious case of Seth Tanner, a mystery in the Grand Canyon. So watch for our work and watch for more work that will be, done in conjunction with Farsight and crypto viewing. We're all trying to achieve the same goals. That's to inform humanity about this wonderful thing called remote viewing and to document the changes in our society. Aloha.
Okay, let me explain what we are doing here at Farsight. Farsight is a research and educational institute, and we don't have memberships. Rather, we conduct research and then we publish it. Also, we are using a new experimental design that has never been used previously, and it avoids the problems that have arisen from the multiple timelines or multiple universes issue that has been a focus of a great deal of research here at Farsight over the years. Now, many people don't believe that multiple timelines or multiple universes even exist. And if they could just improve the quality of the remote viewing, then the past problems with prediction would go away. But we have done so many experiments that explicitly test for the existence of multiple timelines that I am not in the slightest doubt that multiple timelines are the exact reason why associative remote viewing has had a spotty past with respect to obtaining consistently reliable results. In my view, any consistently successful effort to use remote viewing to forecast economic outcomes simply must address this issue. Now, we have a new experimental design that does address the issues associated with multiple timelines, and that is what we are using in our new forecasting efforts here at Farsight. Now, the exact experimental design details are honestly too complicated to describe here, but I can say that using this new design, we will publish forecasts monthly around the middle of the month, beginning in 2 weeks. And for the first few months, we will be forecasting the high and low prices of one cryptocurrency at a time over a 3-month period. Later on, after we establish a public track record for successfully predicting this digital information, we will make forecasts over longer periods of time. And we will also make forecasts of what are called ICOs, or initial coin offerings. But for now, we will publish our first 3-month forecast for Bitcoin on May 15th in just a couple of weeks. To help minimize the element of having the forecasts themselves influence the prices of the cryptocurrencies, we will limit the distribution of the forecast by charging a fee to see them during the forecast period. These forecasts will be of interest to cryptocurrency investors, obviously, And these investors may want to purchase the forecast so that they can see how it all works in real time. But then after the forecast period is over, we will publish the forecast on YouTube for all to see for free. So if you are only interested in seeing how remote viewing works in this regard, and you are not interested or involved in investing in cryptocurrencies, just be patient until the 3-month forecast period is over, and you won't have to pay for the forecast. Now, understand this. Our particular method of making the forecast involves a lot of time and effort on our part for each currency. We believe we have figured out how to do this correctly, and this new project is a public test of this. Also, this is not something where we are making general comments about a bunch of currencies all in one go. For each forecast, we have highly specific remote viewing data recorded live on video using multiple remote viewers, all of whom are highly trained. Then there is an analysis of the results that leads to the forecast. It would be nice to do this in such a way that we could churn out lots of forecasts for many coins each month, but that is not possible with our approach. We believe that it will be worthwhile to do this the way we are doing it, and that people will eventually see that the accuracy of the forecast will make all the difference. We also want people to learn more about remote viewing, so we don't want to simply issue a forecast. We want to show people how we obtain the results. Again, each of our forecasts will be for the high and low prices for a specific coin, and our first forecast will be for Bitcoin. The following month will involve a different coin. Now, some of our forecasts will involve coins with huge potential for uptakes, especially as it relates to relatively newer coins that are selling for very little per coin. Since investments in these newer coins can be quite risky, investors will want to understand how we do our work using the more established coins first. May 15th. You will find it on our website. Next up, I want to personally thank all of you who are watching our latest Mysteries project, Moses Beyond Exodus. This new movie has turned out to be a big hit, with lots of interest in the live remote viewing. If you have not seen it yet, head over to our website and take a look at the trailers. It is one of our most fascinating projects. Now, on to Time Cross. We start with a recap of how well we did in predicting the major news events in March 2018, and then we move on to the new predictions for May. Now remember, we now use a 4-point scale to evaluate each news event. A 3 means that the predictive news story was really good in accuracy and detail in terms of describing a future news story. A 2 means the new prediction happened and the description of the event was solid, but it may not have been as complete as it could have been. Or perhaps it had some relatively minor errors. Now, a 1 means that the news prediction did happen, but the description had too few details or too many errors. And a 0 means that the remote viewing predictive news story does not appear to have happened. And remember that there are 2 basic elements involved in each of our news reports. The first is the actual visual and other perceptions that the remote viewers have involving physical elements and activity. But the viewers also try to interpret those perceptions, and the interpretations are done with the conscious mind, not the remote viewing mind, so to speak. So they carry greater risk of being wrong. We use our same 4-point scale to rate the raw perceptions and the interpretations separately, so we can get an idea of how well we did with the raw perceptions matching the physical elements of major news stories, as listed in our news analysis table for each month, which you can find on our website, as well as with our interpretations of those physical elements. Again, 2 ratings for each news story. First, raw perceptions, and second, the interpretations. And you can enjoy trying your own hand at interpreting the raw perceptions as well each month and seeing how well you do. March 2018 was a really interesting month for our Time Cross project. We had 4 news stories from 2 remote viewing reporters. First, Melena Hall reported on an outdoors gathering of mostly young people with some older people mixed in. Predominantly white, but with some Hispanics as well. The people are gathered in a parking lot type of area. The location is a major city near water in a warm place. There is a festive environment with food and beer smells, and then a driver in a vehicle purposely rams the crowd, resulting in both death and injury. Well, this report unfortunately exactly matched an event that took place in Houston, Texas on March 22nd. A driver plowed through a crowd outside an LGBT nightclub. There was 1 death and 5 wounded. The suspect drove through the parking lot twice, hitting people and cars. Both the perceptions and interpretations of Melena were spot on with this report, and so we will rank both with a score of 3. Next, PrinCess Jeaneé described an urban environment with peaked structures, broken buildings, and broken ground. It was cold outside, but no snow or ice. There were many subjects, mostly with dark hair and foreign accents. There was at least one large dome-like structure that was cream-colored. Now, the dominant element was widespread broken buildings, broken ground, and mayhem. PrinCess had trouble identifying what caused the huge level of destruction, and she wondered if it could have been an earthquake due to the broken ground as well as the broken buildings. But she also wondered if this could have been caused by explosions. Well, as it turned out, March experienced a major increase in war-related activities in Syria. Indeed, these were the second most widely reported news events for the month as recorded in our news analysis table for March. And again, we maintain on our website a similar table for all months in our Time Cross project. In particular, aerial bombings dominated much of the news, and tens of thousands of people had to flee areas such as Ghouta and Douma, Syria. The pictures that appeared in the news of the destruction in those areas looked remarkably like the descriptions offered by PrinCess in her report, with severely broken buildings and ground everywhere. Given the high ranking of these news events in our news analysis table, these events should have been picked up by our remote viewers, and this is exactly what happened. In terms of both the perceptions and the interpretations of these events reported by PrinCess, we will rank both with a score of 3. Next, Melena Hall reported on a storm event that involved lightning that killed a number of people. Now, to be honest, when I first saw this report, I had my doubts. Lightning rarely hits groups of people all at once in one storm, and lightning deaths are rarely reported in the news. But March was different. On the 11th of March, there was a storm in Rwanda in which lightning killed at least 16 people with dozens of others injured. It was a horrific day with some of the most dangerous lightning in recent memory, and this story was covered by a large number of major news outlets. This highly unusual report by Melena clearly scores a 3 in terms of both her interpretations and her perceptions. Next, PrinCess Jeaneé reported on a political event in an urban area in the United States. It had a presidential feeling. A stout, older white male was giving a speech at a political gathering. The supportive crowd was angry. Topics such as deportation were covered, and there was a sense of people being promised big change by the central subject. Well, as it turned out, on March 10th, President Trump began an electioneering cycle with some highly divisive political rallies in Pennsylvania. His campaign speeches were heavily covered by the mainstream media. This report by PrinCess was spot on, and it clearly scored a 3 in terms of both her perceptions and her interpretations. Well, that wraps up our March Time Cross results, and now on to the new May 2018 predictions using our current Time Cross team of remote viewing reporters, all done and published at the end of April 2018. We have 5 great reports, and let's begin with a report by the newest member of our Time Cross team, Arkie. Rock reports on what appears to be a major destructive event in an urban area. He has lots of detail in this report.
All right, welcome everybody to Time Cross May edition. My name is Arkie. Let's get right to target 33215266. All right, I'm picking up an area that has some sparse structures. I think I'm picking up hills and structures, but I've got a separate structure, a structure of interest here. So we've got hills, open area, sparse. If these are some buildings faded into the hills or a hilly area with some buildings, I'm tasting or sensing dirt, dust. It's mild temperature, but let's do some probing here. All right. Picking up in this structure something not so good, bad, harm, destructive, could be ammunition or explosives, possibly. I sense here cars or trucks in this general vicinity. Let's see what else we can find. All right, I picked up picking up a small, or I don't know if it's small or large, structure on what appears to be a hill. The hill overlooks the ocean. The colors I'm picking up: gold, blue, yellow. It has a dome top. Airy sea smells, and I sense I get a pretty view of the ocean in the distance as it curls around the seashore line. What is that? All right, let's keep on going. Thank you. When I use this sigil, or NEMO, Neural Integration Mask Overlay, I'm training this symbol, training my mind. When I probe a certain area of the symbol, then I focus or concentrate on a certain attribute. These are sight senses, sound senses, taste, smell, texture, temperature. And this gives us sort of a grounding for focusing our intention, focusing our mind on a particular aspect of the target. 3321 5266. All right, this was, for me, it was interesting. I'm picking up a structure that's embedded in a hill or mountain, but the entrance is a very interesting form, sort of V or V-shaped, angular. And I'm sensing a road or a winding path. There's movement, people, vehicles. It's airy and fresh in this area, sort of mountainous and fresh, clean. All right, let's move along. All right, I've got this this interesting looking structure or object. I'm sensing energy or power, but I'm not getting. Maybe it's an object, something. Unless it's a giant structure, it seems like there's an associated parabola, and then this sort of design on the back side. And like I said, I'm sensing some form of power or energy. Let's continue this. All right, so here we are. Next visual I got was really really a dense cityscape. I'm sensing dense buildings close together. A corner is jumping out at me, whatever this corner is or means. Dense traffic, a lot of people moving on the thoroughfares here back and forth, but this corner seems important. All right, let's continue. City smells, you know, sort of not clean, airy, and fresh, but sort of condensed, full of people. All right, I picked up probably the same cityscape that we had in the previous frame, but in this frame, I'm picking up some level of a destructive event. We don't know. I don't know what is the causation, but it seems to be. Before we had the buildings and everything seemed structured and orderly, and now there seems to be some chaos in this area. But I just want to say that that corner jumps out again at me. It's a large area. I'm picking up injured and possibly dead, and a level of mayhem or trauma. And I didn't pick up kinetics or explosions after the fact, sort of there, post-event. Let's see what else we can find. All right, on this probe, I picked up billowing downward force. It's almost like a microburst, but I'm not picking up a lot of moisture. Picking up sense of a lot of power and this surging downward force. Let's stay on this, see if we can find a little more. Feels massive, by the way. A lot of energy. A lot of energy makes it easier for, I think, for the remote viewers to pick up. All right, this is energy 2, and what I'm picking up is a rapid, almost instantaneous, but it's elongated because all these are independent, like crackles or bursts. Crackling, popping, explosive, expanding, many energy. It's somewhat reminiscent of like anti-personnel explosions that would happen overhead, and a lot of mini missiles are sent in multiples of directions, but I'm not getting a sense that is what it is. I'm getting a sense that there's an explosive popping, energetic release. My visual is these things are like dancing, flying away. So let's give it another shot here. More energy. I didn't get as much of a downward sensation with that particular target aspect. Let's see. All right, what I picked up with this probe, and I'm not really sensing what type of, is it a cloud, a platform, but whatever is extending from, whatever this is, extending from it is a more powerful downward force. You know, these could possibly be clouds. I'm just getting a feeling of tremendous downward pressure. It's a pretty simple signal, but it's a powerful signal. I'm just getting this repeat of downward pressure, downward force. And I'm really struggling in the natural, unnatural. I can't tell this time. All right, I'm gonna call this Artifact 1, and when we're remote viewing, we get these things floating in our consciousness, and you know, Dick has told me many times, put everything down, because you don't know which aspect of your remote viewing session is good data, bad data, or corrupt data. So I'm putting this in. It doesn't make a lot of sense yet. What I'm sensing is a ladder or stair type structure, and not really getting any sounds or smells or taste or environmentals. I'm just looking at this picture. what's apparent is there's something missing on the side, and that could be important. It seems important right now. So we'll call that artifact 1 for our May session. So here's a remote viewing it's confusing to me. I'm probing and I get a bulbous object. It seems structure-like. For me, I think could possibly be a missile, but I don't get that sense of. I don't really get that sense of destruction. I don't get that sense of power. And then I probed again for sounds, and I sense I'm hearing people, and on the smell probe, maybe I'm hungry. I'm getting some food. So this one's one to noodle on. Something that almost is reminiscent of a missile, but not quite. Is this an insignia, or is it could be something altogether different? All right, let's recap here. All right, for target 3321, May time cross, we had several different aspects, several different locations. We started with a distant, sparse locale that has a warehouse or structure near a flat area, indicated through the session possible harm in that structure. I heard vehicles, trucks, possible ammunition, weapons, etc. It wasn't a real good vibe. We had a sort of a temple-like object on a cliff overlooking the ocean. The colors that came out were gold, yellow, blue, as I recall. There wasn't any other real impressions other than it seemed like a nice seashore area. And then we had a more mountainous area with a facility, and as you recall, the interesting aspect of the facility was its entrance, and the entrance had this triangle sort of shape to it. In addition, we had a lot of power events, downward or energy events, downward pressure, downward force. I saw that in 3 different variances. We also had an object or a structure that looks like it could possibly be generating some level of power. And we had what we hope doesn't happen, and that is a very destructive incident or event in a fairly congested, densely populated area. Thank you very much.
Next up, Melena Hall reports on what appears to be a robbery or some other kind of invasive, violent event that happens in a building that feels like a mansion or museum.
Today I will be exploring Target 8154-5974. I'm getting irregular topography. A sense of structures here. They're very distant from each other. A lot of foliage. This area seems very urban. A lot of subjects are here. A lot of man-made smells. Oil. A lot of burning smells from up and down this whole surface. It feels like a lot of people are coming inside this area. It seems to be like a private property area. A lot of people have to know who's in this area. Seems very private. The structure feels like a mansion. Or some type of museum. It's so wide. It's wide, and the outside structure is like stone material, like grayish, whitish structure. It only feels like a house because the area it's in is like further down. There's other houses and other structures. And it's so wide, like this could be any building, and it's people inside, subjects inside and out. Seems like a event is happening in this whole building. I see a lot of people dressed up, formal clothing. Or some people in casual clothing as well. But it feels like a high class and middle class party. It seems very rich, like the environment, the feel. I'm getting a lot of successful people and all in one building, and other people that's not on their level still here to come see. It's a lot of music. I'm hearing sounds. Inside the structure, I'm hearing sounds, a lot of noises, a lot of talking. It's just a whole bunch of subjects inside of this area. This inside is so wide. There's stairs above on each side of this building. I'm getting stairs on both sides and a big wall, lights above, rooms, people everywhere. It feels like a party because there's so many different people, different races. Majority I'm getting white, pale complexion, tan complexion, and a few darker skin, but it just seems like a lot of artistic things are going on in this whole structure. There's also subjects in black. So I'm getting security, but this area feels so bunched in. It feels like movement just shift amongst me. A fast kinetic force went past me. I'm feeling like I'm being pulled down. Let's go. 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. Seeing subjects walking in, a lot of laughter, just regular talk, communication, moving, a lot of lights, a lot of nice clothing. This seems very, very classy. Yes, just a normal activity, normal party. The music is very loud, like loud music, just like club loud, like it's very loud. I'm seeing here a few different subjects. There's a lot of other subjects. They seem to be dressed up as well, but seems very suspicious. People walking like across funny, like 3-4 people. It's like they're dressed up as well. It feels like they're fitting in or trying to be in disguise. So it's like if you look a certain way, you could easily get in, and these people looks like they're dressing the part. But they seem to be very suspicious. I'm feeling sort of sweats. I'm feeling nervous. The feeling of the force that just went around me doesn't feel right. 30 minutes after. Loud noises. I'm hearing yell. I'm feeling push. People are falling on the ground. Glass and things are being shattered as they fall on the ground. Drinks, things are being spilled. People are running around me. This just seems to be some type of not breaking, entering, but thieves. I'm getting a sense of thieves here. I'm feeling like so not necessarily afraid, but I feel like I'm not safe here. Things are being snatched. It seems to be a run around this whole inside structure and find things or a subject who has nice things and take it away and run out the party. Seems to be a lot going on. Somebody stole nice things. So moving into the initial moment of the target activity, it just seemed like a lot of subjects, and each and every one of them looks nice. A lot of the high class subjects that have like nice belongings and things, and they're very elegant looking. They're around this area, and this whole structure looks like some luxury home. It's just very antique, and the things that's inside, the materials, how it's sculptured, the whole environment, it seems very like old and vintage, but like it feels very like a mixture of modern as well. It's like have this idea of Rome, not the place, but like the whole look of it. It just seems so like old but nice. The smell in here is very nice. Like everything is nice. The lights, these subjects that walked in this party, feels like they faked their identity to walk in. They seems like they said they know the person. The person who owned this place is very rich. It's give me like the inside, like the music is not bad. It's new modern music. Everything looks nice. There are a lot of girls that are dressed up. I mean, it gives me a California house party, up in the hills or whatever. Just very Hollywood kind of, sort of. And yes, things are being stolen as the party is taking place. And they're running out. People are falling on the ground. Like, people are running with things. I'm seeing like a lot of shimmery gold, diamonds, just a lot of things that are being taken. I mean, there's so many rooms and things to go through this household. And security is not doing their job. this situation is very crazy. But the fall of the subjects, the very fall of the subjects, you see dresses, you see guys just tumbling. It looks like just people are being pushed as people are running out the door or escaping this whole party. And money, you see also money, yes, money. You see money also on the ground, like, this has been target 81545974.
Next up, PrinCess Jeaneé reports on an aircraft crash that occurs near or in a city. People see it coming and the pilot seems to have some issues.
Three, 4, 8, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3. I have structures, land, a very, very urban environment here. City, I see city and subjects all around, inside and outside of the structure. I also see a non-surface structure, lots of people. There are no steep peaks on the land, but I am seeing steep peaks. I'm sensing them being within the buildings or the structures. There's water nearby. Very focused. I see the non-surface structure above the city. Feels like the target is dealing with this structure here. The city itself seems very normal, except for the structure in the air. I'm picking up roaring sounds here, rumbling, hot, heat, smoke inside of the large central city, within the large central city. The aircraft seems to have fallen or broken or coming down into the city here with smoke and fire everywhere. I'm seeing pieces of white or silver metal everywhere, so it does appear to be some form of a crash. I'm going to go up about 1,000 feet to get a better look around at things. Again, I'm getting just this very large city, open environment, smoke, fire. I see burning. I see a lot of commotion. Something's on fire. I'm moving to the center of the target here, and the aircraft definitely or appears to have crashed, or something appears to have crashed into the city or near the city. People can see it coming. People down below can see it coming down towards them. It's very big, and it just bursts into flames. Very chaotic, so much commotion. I hear sirens, I hear panic. You can sense the panic. I'm gonna move to the original cause of the target here, of this situation. I don't... Something is happening, something wrong is happening. I sense a lot of shaking, rattling, popping, losing control, sparks coming from the back of the plane. I see the plane seems to be spinning. It's spinning in its way down, on the way down it's spinning. At first I kind of thought this was terroristic or a terror attack of some sort, but now it sort of doesn't feel like that, but I'm not sure. It looks it looks like this building is getting hit. I'm going to move inside the plane. There are a lot of passengers. There chaos, screaming. The pilot seems to be trying to do something to fix it, but nothing's working. I see people in the city down below. They see this happening and they're terrified. They see all of the commotion going on with this aircraft and it's coming towards them. They are definitely terrified. I want to go deep into the controller of the plane. I'm not sure if it's the pilot or if somebody, just to see if it's the pilot, if somebody has taken over or who's acting as the pilot, what the guy or woman might be like. There's a lot of stuff in this guy's head. He seems a bit psychotic, mental. I'm wondering if he's been drinking. There are numbers in his mind, a lot of numbers, like coordinates. It's just, things are running through his mind. This guy's head is pretty messed up. It's like he's trying to fix something, but on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like he doesn't care. I'm gonna go into the pilot's head or mind during or before, like right before takeoff. Something is definitely wrong with this guy's mind. He seems a bit off. He seems not right in the head. His mind is not the way a pilot's mind should be, the way I feel a pilot's mind should be, as far as sanity and tranquility. Is just not where I feel it should be. He's a lot calmer here than he is in the air, but that makes sense because there's a lot going on up there, but it's just not right. His mind makes my head hurt. Like it's way too much. It's way too much going on. And it kind of like makes it hurt to even feel what he's feeling or thinking or possibly going through. Is so much chaos in his head alone.
Next, Melena Hall reports on a train accident that appears to involve the collision of two different trains, most likely in a country outside of the United States.
Today we'll be exploring target 51057308. Getting cloud dynamics. Level topography. Getting surface structure. There are subjects inside structure and outside structure. I see foliage. I'm seeing peaks in the back, in the far distance. I'm also getting this heavy metallic structure. I'm getting harsh man-made, harsh natural, a lot of dirt and ground and sand, rocks around this area. A lot of oil smells, burning smells. It smells like a factory almost. But this surface structure has a lot of workers and people moving in and out, walking around, waiting, working. Feels like a workstation. And this heavy object is some sort of vehicle. It's very big and bold. The smell is very, very different. Like it smells like a rust and a oily engine. Like you could hear everything just like moving. Feels and sounds like a train. This train doesn't quite seem like a public transportation train, like a city train, more like a railroad train, a regular train that carries things and few people, few workers, I believe. But it's a lot of people, so it's possibly either or. I'm getting a lot of smells that could be from that specific train, but the smell seems so bad and smoky. Something with this train isn't quite right, and it's functioning very weird. From this point, I'm seeing subjects, flat topography, but a few curves and irregular topography around, and structures moving up. Heat, cloud dynamics, smoke, and from 1,000 feet, I see peaks like mountain, city, water in distance, and move around. 1 mile to my right, this flat land. 1 mile above, from behind, they're just peaks, foliage. It's hot in this area. The temperature gets warm, but it also gets hot. It's kind of switch up. 1 mile to my left, I'm seeing a few water areas like lake, and I'm just seeing like ground and flat land. And 1 mile in front of me is structures. So I'm getting regular activity, but I'm also hearing loud noises from subjects in uniform. I'm getting a lot of like moving around, like they're rushing to do stuff and put things up, like to control this environment. They're trying to get things working and get things up in the board. I'm hearing a lot of like the language they're speaking doesn't seem to be English. This area also seems foreign, but it also seems to be somewhere here in the United States. Is because the background feels like Colorado area, the way the landscape here is around, but I'm hearing a lot of noises and yelling back and forth before this whole train pull. Okay. Going into those 30 minutes, it's moving very fast, and I don't think it's running as properly as it's supposed to, because it's supposed to move just normal, and it's moving more faster than normal. A lot of noises, a lot of beats. The noises is very like screeching and like fast, like you hear bells ringing, like a lot of ting ting and shh, like it's just moving. And there seems to be like a stop also, like a crossroad, and the train constantly kept going and damaged, like crash damage. There seems to be another vehicle or big, just like the train. It's like they combine, get a lot of smoke. Feels like an explosion just happened, accident, but this seems to be so set up, like, I don't know, this, the field is just, like, it's just dark smoke, fire. You could hear a train, like the middle of it, just leaning, going, like you could hear like all the noises, such impact here. Subjects are definitely injured and dead. It's so hard to even breathe in this area. Oh God. It's like the whole train, the side of it, like the middle is like leaning, and it stopped moving because it's been hit. Something hit it and exploded. Subjects hurt. Many subjects died from this tragedy. And this has been Target 5105-7308.
Finally, PrinCess Jeaneé reports on what appears to be a utilities explosion in an urban area that results from gas. It is centered in an old historic building. Now, when I saw this report, I wondered if it was related to the report shown earlier by Rock Arkie, and we'll have to wait and see. You take a look.
8880-3620. I have land and structure, water nearby, very urban environment, city. The lighting is sort of bright here. I see subjects in and out of the structures. There's hills kind of near the city. It's not like a super flat land, but there's some hills to it. Warm temperature, I hear lots of talking, cloud dynamics. I'm smelling smoke and burning. I'm starting to see some smoke and burning here. Lots of people gathered around, focused, very focused, and they're looking at something here. I'm starting to pick up an explosion of some sort. I'm gonna go about 1,000 feet up to get a better look at that. I definitely see a lot of fire, a lot of smoke, lots of subjects, explosion. The smoke sort of starts in one place and it expands throughout the city. I'm hearing roaring, I'm hearing winds, I'm hearing booming. I'm hearing flapping of some sort, kind of like the flapping of flames or fire, the way that sounds. I hear sirens, I hear screaming, shouting. Many people are running. See broken buildings here. I'm seeing the bodies. Bodies are lying on the ground. They look dead, severely injured or hurt. I'm going to try to find the original cause of this. and it feels like utilities, gas, electricity, leaks. I smell gas. I smell gas. It's in a very central location, in a central building here. Something is burning. And I feel like there's a whole bunch of components, and it creates this super large explosion. I'm going to move to the initial moment of what's happening to see where I am, what it looks like, what's going on here. And I'm feeling like an old building. It looks like a building, or one, like a historical building, or one that has been in the city for a while. Like, it's definitely made its mark in this place. I'm going to look at the origin of the explosion. Where did the explosion come from? It looks like a lower level of a building, kind of like a basement, or feels sort of like a basement. I see pipes, lines. I see wires or things of some sort. Something went wrong. It doesn't seem like there's a person down here. I don't get the sense of a person being here. So it's not like someone did something. I'm not sensing that. What I'm sensing happened on its own is what it feels like, or carelessness, maybe like neglect to take care of what's going on, to check on pipes, to check on leaks, possible leakage is what it's feeling like. It feels like carelessness on the city's part, or somebody's part within that's responsible for the building. I'm going to try to just play with this target a little bit and see if I can move to the leader of the country that I am in, or where this is taking place. And I'm getting sort of a tall white male, kind of like a pointy round nose, buttony nose. He's not young, seems bald, very round. He's got a very round face and plump, like rather plump body. He's not slim. He's sort of, bodied. He's got this circular type of hat going on, long wardrobe, and quite like pointy ears. His ears are not rounded. They got a little different shape to them, not like an elf or anything, but it's definitely got some definition to his ears. I noticed them.
So that is it for the predictions for May 2018. You will be interested to know that we are currently working on a statistical analysis of our time cross reports dating back to May 2016. So stay tuned. Also, I hope you get a chance to watch our new Mysteries project, Moses Beyond Exodus, one of our most amazing projects ever. And please remember to watch some of our recent Mysteries projects, such as the just released The War in Heaven, and also Tunguska Complexity, Remote Viewing Area 51, the Roswell UFO crash, the investigations into the 9/11 events, the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King, the psychology of Adolf Hitler, and some amazing explorations into UFOs and extraterrestrial life. As always, all Farsight remote viewing work is done by highly trained remote viewers working solo under totally blind conditions with no communication between any of the remote viewers. So Farsight projects are nothing short of amazing, and there is nothing like it anywhere else. And remember that when you watch our Mysteries projects, you are helping us at Farsight do our work, including the funding for our Time Cross project, which we offer free to the public, but which costs us a few $1,000s to do each month. We have no other significant sources of income to pay the bills, so you really help when you follow and watch our activities and research. Without you watching our projects, we would not exist. Finally, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Farsight Press, to keep up with the latest. You can find information about all of our present and past activities on our website. And also on our website, please sign up for our free email newsletter where we announce all of our major projects. The email newsletter is actually one of the best ways to keep up with all of our activities. Stay ahead of the curve. Let the mainstream fade in the dust. Be there now.